Guys, we need to have an adult conversation on Milan's Rafa Leao. Put the PlayStation controller down. Put that slice of pizza down. Put that tray of sushi to the side. Just give me 10 minutes of your time. Let's have a man-to-man conversation on Rafa Leao. Is he the scapegoat at Milan? Is he a victim of a club that's been poorly run in the past few years with poor recruitment, managers left, right, and centre? Or is he the culprit? Is he a player that warrants all of this criticism that he gets from the Milan fan base, from pundits across the world? What is it? What is it? What's going on with Rafa Leao? And I'm just here to give you guys my honest opinion because I'm a massive fan. And I know what's going to happen. HAJJ, we told you. He was never that good. HAJJ, we told you. He's overrated. I've always been one of his biggest supporters, one of his biggest advocates. Somebody that when I sit down and watch Milan, I actually look forward to when the ball goes down the left and Rafa Leao is on the ball. But from looking at Leao this season, from looking at Leao last season, I feel like the biggest challenge has been, when it comes to Rafa Leao, he's really failed to kick on after that Milan Scudetto winning season. I feel like in that Milan Scudetto winning season, he was still relatively new to the Milan project. Only been at the club for a few years, and at the same time, he was still relatively young. He still needed a bit more refining, a bit more maturing, a bit more experience, but he had a very good campaign. He put up 11 goals and 4 assists and helped his team win the Scudetto. And everybody sat down and told themselves, this is the beginning of something special because he's young, but he's shown the leadership. He's shown the consistency to help his team win the Scudetto. A Pioli Milan team, well, let's be real, he overachieved. That Milan Scudetto winning team was not that good to win a Scudetto. On paper, it could have been improved, but it was a team that overachieved. And how do you overachieve? When players perform out of their skin. When players give you that extra 20, 30%. And I feel like that's what Rafa Leao done. The season after that, he put up 15 goals and an assist. But he showed I can be decisive. He showed I can win games for Milan. I can put Milan on my back and carry them through this difficult rut. But I feel like after that, it's been a downward slope. It really, really, really has. Like last season, fair enough, it was a relatively poor campaign. Pioli looked like it was time for him to be moved on. Rafa Leao put on 9 goals and 2 assists. Now, 9 goals and 2 assists for other attackers across the world is deemed good enough. But me, personally, I have very high standards of Rafa Leao. And I told myself, you can do better than this. You should be a player that every single season, the minimum is 15 goals. Maybe I've got too high expectations. But when you're that good, and you've got the physical attributes, you've got the technical attributes, and it's in a league that you're now more familiar in, and you are the man. You are the man of this team. This is your Milan team. Take ownership. Grasp the opportunity. And I feel like last season, 9 goals, 2 assists, the performances were very, very, very inconsistent. I'm looking at this season, and guys, I'm seeing in 25 games, 5 goals, 2 assists. It's not good. It's not good enough. I'll be honest with you guys. A player of Rafa Leao's ability, 5 goals, it's not good enough. But why? Why? And this is the first time I'm going to say this. I feel like the criticism on him is warranted. Now, of course, some people take it overboard. But I feel like at the end of the day, every Milan fan, when your team goes out there to play, you look at Rafa Leao and you tell yourself, if we're going to win this game, Rafa Leao will be one of our standout performers. Rafa Leao will keep us in the game. Rafa Leao will drag us back into this game. Rafa Leao is our game changer. Rafa Leao is that decisive, the player that will decide this game. And I feel like this season, he's had an up and down season. And I feel like in the beginning, it was Paulo Fonseca. Now, it was crystal clear. Him and Paulo Fonseca, they never saw eye to eye. Leao comes out and says, Fonseca behind my back was talking a lot, but he would never ever say it to my face. And I feel like there was a breakdown in communication. Fonseca couldn't get his message across to Leao, and Leao couldn't get the performances, couldn't put in the performances that Fonseca wanted. But Fonseca paid the price, and he was sacked. Sergio Conceição comes in, and I'm thinking it's time for that Portuguese connection. A manager that will put his arm around Rafa Leao, but at the same time he will demand 120%. And he will tell Rafa Leao, first half of the season, you came under a lot of criticism. There was even a period where people were sat telling themselves, you're not part of this project anymore. This isn't your Milan team anymore. It's Pulisic. And why? Because he stepped up and he performed and he showed consistency. Second half of the season, prove your critics wrong. Surprise everybody. Shock everybody. Make people eat their own words. Go out there and perform. And I'll be honest with you guys, he's really, really, really disappointed me. He's had a few good games. He's had a few good moments. But I'm looking at him and I'm telling myself, you're now 25 years of age. This is the age where you're supposed to kick on. This is the age where you're supposed to show consistency. And the problem that I have with Rafa Leao is, at the age of 25, he hasn't shown consistency in putting the ball into the back of the net. He hasn't shown consistency in playmaking in the final third. He hasn't shown consistency in his ability to help the team off the ball. He's just shown glimpses. A few weeks ago, Rafa Leao is charging into his own box, slide tackling the opposition player. But then against Feyenoord, he's walking and he's jogging. A few weeks ago, Rafa Leao scores a beautiful goal, drops inside, then goes back, puts it into the roof of the net. But against Feyenoord, he couldn't even get a shot on goal. Inconsistent. At the age of 25, you need to be consistent. And that is what separates the best players from the average players to the poor players. Consistency, being able to do the basics on a consistent basis. And with Rafa Leao, on some days he does the basics and they elevate his performance, but on other days even the basics are not there. And I look at him and I tell myself, he now needs to look at himself in the mirror and tell himself, and it's a saying that Cristiano Ronaldo once said, where he was like, when I was young, I was all about the glamour, the skills, the tricks, going out there and entertaining the crowd. Even if it meant my team lost, I still wanted to put on a show. But with age, he realized the best show any fan would ever want is to see their team win come the 90th minute. You can do the skills and the tricks when your team is winning 3-0. But when your team is losing, rather than doing skills and tricks and trying to overdo and complicate things, play the game simple. Keep it simple. Put the ball into the back of the net and then you can do whatever you want afterwards. With Rafa Leao, I feel like he needs to sit down and tell himself those extra touches that he takes are really hindering his game. And there's a term that I like to refer to when describing players, and it's touch heavy. I feel like Rafa Leao has become a very touch heavy player, where sometimes I look at him and I'm like, release the ball, have a shot on goal. Don't take that extra second, third touch. But he does. And it ends up disrupting everything. It allows the opposition players to get back in position. It slows down the entire game. That extra 1-2 touch can be the difference between a teammate being onside and offside. And he's become very touch heavy. And why it's a problem for Milan? Because now I look at Milan and I tell myself, you've got a lot of touch heavy players, especially in attack. João Felix, touch heavy. Rafa Leao, touch heavy. Theo Hernandez, touch heavy. Christian Pulisic at times, touch heavy. Not as much as them, but he can be touch heavy. Reinders, sometimes, touch heavy. You've got too many players that want to do it all by themselves. Play as one. Teamwork. That's how you win. Teamwork. Bring everybody into the game. And do you know where it's disappointing? Because I look at it like this. If you're a player that's going to be touch heavy, if you're a player that's going to rely on yourself, if you're a player that wants to at times overdo it and score that beautiful fancy goal where you drop 3-4 defenders and you put it into the roof of the net, as long as you can do it on a consistent basis, nobody will complain. But when you can't do it on a consistent basis, you will be criticised. I remember Mourinho used to say the reason why he never used to make Cristiano Ronaldo press was because he wanted him to preserve his energy. I don't want my attacking players to press, be tracking back. Because when we do get the ball, I want my best player to be full of energy to go out there and win me the game. And that was exactly what Cristiano Ronaldo done. So when the whole Real Madrid team was tracking back, Ronaldo isn't sprinting back because he knows my duty, my mission is in the opposition half. So I'm going to preserve my energy. I'm going to save myself But when I do get the ball, my duty is now to win my team the game. That is what the best players do. With Rafa Leao, I feel like he doesn't help this Milan team off the ball. So no problem. You're not helping the team off the ball. Surely now you've got more energy. But why is it when you get the ball, you're still not deciding games? You're not having an impact on games. If anything, the fact that he overdoes it sometimes in the final third, it really does hinder them. And it hinders him. Because the criticism, the poor performances, it drains his confidence. And there's a reason why with Rafa Leao, when he's bad, he is bad. Do I think the criticism is warranted? I feel like in terms of performances, yes, because everybody expects more. Why? Because they know he's capable of giving more. But I look at him and tell myself, you are now part of a very exciting project. You've got a new number 9. You've got a new player in the number 10. You've got a Christian Pulisic on the right hand side. It's a very exciting Milan team, and this is a team that you could have your blueprint on. This is a team that you can call yours. This is a team where in the past so many people sat down and said Leao isn't performing because the teammates around him are hindering him. They're not on the same level as him. This is a team where everybody is on your level. Work together and get this Milan team over the line. Play as one. And that's where I'm disappointed, because I'm now looking at him and I'm saying at 25 years of age, having had 4 or 5 years in the Serie A, having been an integral piece to this team, regardless of the manager, it is time to step up with your consistent performances. And if you can't, then Milan will definitely look at you and say, we can replace you for somebody that might not be as talented as you, but he gives this team 110%. He gives this team the basics on a consistent basis. As long as you've got players that give you the basics on a consistent basis, that team will always outshine a team of talented players that are inconsistent. And that's just my opinion on the whole situation. I feel like from now up until the end of the season, he needs to tell himself, this is a Milan team that must beat Feyenoord, and he needs to step up at the San Siro. This is a Milan team that needs to be fighting for the top 4, and he must step up. If not, whatever the criticism, whatever the decision that's made in the summer, I feel like it will be warranted. Now, if you're new, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to let me know what you think in the comments. And I'll catch you guys on another one.